What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. Joining me today is a man who has tallied up 15 plus years in the business of professional wrestling. You have recently seen him on NWA programming, and on January 15th, he will be in action at Catalyst Wrestling in the New York area. This is Black G's. What's going on, man? How you feeling today?
What's going on, Andrew? Thanks for having me, bro.
I,
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. To start us off, let's get into this Catalyst Wrestling show. You're going to be teaming with Joker. You guys are going to be taking on the Infinite Man, Tim and Rob Killjoy. I know you and Joker have been in the same circles for quite some time. Frequent tag team partners. Is it always that sort of instant chemistry when you two get together and reunite for matches? Is it still sort of that same, just that instant knowledge of one another and what each other like to do in the ring?
Yeah, it's instant, man. I mean, it's like because we pretty much started our careers at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, we everywhere we wrestled the same places all the time, you know what I mean? So we pretty much had that chemistry from day one. And when we tag, man, it's like a different type of intensity, man. It's like we think alike, you know what I mean? We don't even really have to I don't know, man. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's like whenever we in there, like the connection is there, man. It's like everything is all good. So like we both looking forward to this match at Catalyst. You know what I'm saying? It's our first time tagging together in a while, but man, we looking forward to killing the Catalyst, man. You know what I'm saying? Looking forward to taking over the scene again.
Yeah, and speaking of catalysts, like I know you guys, this is your first time, working with catalysts. You've been I've seen quite a few matches, I believe, with them. I had recently been to go check out a matches on YouTube. I think it's episode 245 of Catalyst. You had wrestled Mike Law, and you guys had a solid match, man. It was a nice match. It wasn't that long, but I think you guys put together something solid, and anybody can go check that out on YouTube. Geez, for somebody who has tallied up, like I said at the beginning, 15 plus years in wrestling, how are you still able to still have that same type of agility and swiftness and like still move with grace in the ring after so many miles that you put on your body over the years, man? Is it just something simple as just, like keeping a healthy diet and making sure you work out on a consistent basis?
Yeah, it's definitely that. It's definitely working out, you know what I'm saying, eating clean and all that. But it's also I still have a passion for this, you know what I mean? There's still a lot that I want to accomplish, you know what I mean? And over the years, we all go through it where we might not like it as much, you know what I'm saying? Because the negatives that we got to deal with in this business or whatever. But um when we as wrestlers, when we get motivated, like there's nothing that can stop us. And it's like, man, it's like now I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life, you know what I'm saying? I'm putting out the best performances, the best promos and all that. I still got a few years left, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's still like that, sort of that, what's the word people use, that like internal flame, like it's still lit.
Yeah, it's definitely still lit, man. Definitely, definitely.
Like, could you ever have like imagined like when you first started your career, like that you would be going to achieve the amount of success that you have achieved, or was it always that thought in the back of your head, like I'm going to find success in professional wrestling, or I'm at least going to go down trying to find that type of success in professional wrestling?
I mean, I always had the confidence and like for real, when I got in, the only thing that I ever wanted to do was wrestle in Japan. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That came from like watching like old school New Japan junior heavyweights, you know what I'm saying? Like once I got my hands on Japanese wrestling, that was it. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to wrestle in Japan. I wanted to wrestle in Corrigan Hall. You know what I'm saying? I accomplished it. You know what I'm saying? So then like everything other than that was just a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you keep doing it, you accomplish a goal, and then you just have more and more goals. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when I started, like being a smaller guy, it was like, you know what I'm saying, like thinking you could make it to like WWE or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That was like it's not going to happen. So that
Mhm.
was never like that was never on my brain. It was Japan. Then once I did that, I was just like, damn, I wonder what else I can accomplish. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what I'm saying, I did a little WWE extra work or whatever, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then I did TV, you know what I'm saying, TNA and all that. And I'm like, damn, I can accomplish anything. So it just like accomplishing big goals and smaller goals, that just keeps you more and more motivated and it builds that hunger more and more, you know what I'm saying? And like even now, there's still more that I want to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? We're NWA now. And like, bro, I feel like I can do anything. I feel like I could go to any company and stand out right away and just kill it, man. Like that motivation is crazy right now, man.
And would you say, I was going to dive into the NWA part a little later, but I'm curious to something you just said, like, with that motivation, the extra motivation, do you think it comes from, seeing, and even what you do in the independent scene, do you think it just comes from seeing sort of the current generation and the newer generation and seeing how like enthusiastic they are, and you kind of get like a little bit of like a feed off of that?
Yeah, it is, because like I'll see like cats from this generation, and like a lot of them, they'll remind me of myself when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? That passion, that spirit, that no fear. You know what I'm saying? Like doing all types of stuff that, like, as far as like high flying stuff, like diving off of stuff, like that stuff that like years ago I would do it and not even care. You know what I'm saying? Like talking like back in the day, back in the CCW days, like Cage of Death and all that, just doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it was all to entertain. It was all to like get the audience to like love what you do. Like that's how these cats are now. And you know what I'm saying? That also keeps me motivated. And then also it's like it's a little bit of arrogance, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I'm still doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all think y'all good and y'all are, but wait till y'all getting there with me. Y'all gonna have to keep up with me. So you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit of everything. But like, you know what I'm saying? All of that, man, it just keeps that motivation going, man. You know what I mean? I love it.
So something I like that you just said, like it's like that also like internal like battle thing. Like I think we all, like whether it's wrestling or whether you writing or whatever you're doing, you playing basketball, football, I think we all got a little bit of ego. We all got it.
You got to.
You got to. Like anybody who says that they got an ego, they lying. They straight up lying to you.
It's that competitive spirit, man. You have to have it. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? It keeps things fun. You know what I'm saying? It keeps it fun. You know.
And I think something like something that you hit on, like it's not like, I think sometimes like when people think of the word ego, they can always like associate it with something negative. I think a lot of people use that sort of ego to like drive themselves. Like how you say, like when you see like the younger generation out here and they doing some of the stuff that you was doing, it's like, man, I know I can still hang with y'all too. And it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, like I'm not trying to help y'all advance, like you all trying to do that. But at the same time, it's like, I know that I can still hang with y'all the same way that I could if I was back when, when you was in your CCW days, back in the heyday, for lack of better terms.
Exactly. Like take somebody like Too Cold Scorpio, bro. Like Scorpio, he's still doing it, bro. And Scorpio be outshining cats that's like in their 20s, man. You know what I'm saying? Scorpio still got that passion going. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing, you know? It's that competitive spirit.
And we talked about mentioned CZW a little bit, man. Like, though you spent a great deal of your career in CZW, man. I think probably maybe even 10 plus years with CZW. Yeah. Like I told you before we started recording, I went back and watched some stuff like over the years, you know what I'm saying, because I started getting into wrestling outside of the major stuff like 2016, 2017, start going back and look at all the different stuff. And of course I came across your stuff, but like there's this one clip, and I've seen this clip before. Like I've seen this clip a couple of times on YouTube because it pops up on the recommended feed from time to time. It's that video of you backstage at CZW when you were addressing the lack of Black talent on the poster. And you were talking about how, some of CZW's overseas partners may not be as fond of you. And you was like, well, I'm not really fond of y'all either. So I guess it's a fair thing. And I felt like that was just like a chef's kiss promo right there. And I didn't even a promo. It was just like, you were just speaking from what you felt like. And I wanted to ask, like, was that sort of like a, like a real feeling that you were having, and what you were saying was just coming from the heart, and not necessarily not even like frustration that you were feeling, but more so just like, I know that I'm just as good, if not better, as my white colleagues.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was coming from a real place. Like that promo, it wasn't scripted. It wasn't anybody saying, hey, why don't you touch on this? It was me. It was them putting the camera in front of my face, rolling, and me just getting some things off my chest. And at the time, that's exactly how it was. It was like when CCW started working with WSW in Germany. First time we went over there, You know what I mean? It was like those cats over there, it was like they were like treating all of us like we should all be happy to be there.
Mm.
Not just the blacks, like all of us. They were treating us like they was pretty much young boy on us, bro. Like they was treating us like we not shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't gonna stand for that. And like a lot of the guys that were there, they were just allowing it to happen. And I'm like, yo, bro, are we men or are we boys over here? And it's like, and like back then it was like anytime that like I spoke my mind, you know what I'm saying, and I looked out for the boys in the locker room, it was frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? It was like people just like, oh, that's just Jeeves, that's just how he is. So it sort of gave me a reputation like I'm a hothead or like I'm unprofessional, which isn't the case. It's all about respect. You know what I'm saying? We men first, wrestlers second. So if you want us to respect y'all, you're going to respect us. And the sad thing about it was the majority of the cats in that locker room, they weren't backing me on it. They were just like, I was just like a man in my own world. It's like, you know what I mean?
Made you a
it was
lone
like,
wolf.
yeah, exactly. And that's how it was a lot. That's how it was for me for a long time on the indies. You know what I'm saying? And me standing on my own too, me not putting up with BS, that stalled my career a lot because people didn't want to book me. People who I thought were my homies, they wouldn't even speak up for me. So it was like all these other cats are getting bookings here and there, and I'm not getting anything. And it pissed me off. You know what I'm saying? So for a long time, like that entire time that I was in CCW, all those promos, that was my real thoughts, my real feelings. You know what I'm saying? And it was like it got to the point where people didn't want to work with me, especially when it came to if we had to like do anything that involved getting on the mic and talking like in-ring promo stuff like that. People didn't want to work programs with me because I don't know, was it fear? I don't know. People didn't want to deal with me. Fellow wrestlers, promoters didn't want to deal with me, and it was all because of my promos. It was all about the character. Like a lot of people on a lot of fellow wrestlers and promoters, they just felt like the character was too real. It was like they hear my name like, nah, he's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And it was messed up. And the crazy thing is, like, you know how how it is these days, where like everybody is all about the culture, and that's great. I was on that years ago, and people frowned on me about it. Even people that look like us, bro. Like seriously, people that look like us, they were frowning on me about it. And I'm looking out for myself. I'm looking out for all of us, and they weren't even trying to hear it. When it's kind of funny now, everybody is on it. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying that it's all about.
I know what you mean.
I'm not saying it's all about clout. But bro, I was on that years ago, and y'all cats was frowning on me. Now all of a sudden, all of y'all are about it. Is it for real or is it clout? I think a lot of these cats is just for clout. Not all of them. Some of them are really about it, but some of them are definitely about clout. A lot of it is, some of them is all about just doing this and that, just so they can get bookings, just so they try to use it so they can back people into a corner for them to get bookings, for them to get pushes. And it's sad, you know?
Like, especially like when we referencing the video that we just talked about, I think it was also like what you piggybacking on what you were just saying. I think it's also a thing of like at that time, I don't think a lot of people was really ready to hear the truths that were going on even outside of professional wrestling, like just in America in general, in terms of race, when it comes to how Black people were being treated, are being treated. And now I feel like things are much more open and much more progressive. So people are like more sort of confident to speak out on certain things, and it's easier to just voice our opinions and without having to worry about any type of backlash. And where I think you coming from, as far as like, man, maybe even you said people look like us, sort of like you know, sort of stayed to the wayside a little bit when you would speak up about certain things. Like, do you think that sort of came from the feeling like if they were to sort of join you in sharing their experiences, like that it would sort of lead to them losing out on bookings or losing out on opportunities because the wrestling industry wasn't ready for, you know, like a very progressive Black man to just be speaking about certain issues in the country, not even just in professional wrestling, but just speaking about certain issues in general. Do you think that some of your colleagues may have felt like, I don't want to take that chance and you know, risk my opportunity? You think that was sort of like the sort of the consensus there as far as how you felt?
I think so. I think it definitely was. People were worried about having their careers halted. They're worried about like they might want to work in particular places and they wouldn't be able to because they would get heat for speaking up or whatever. That's why like any of the people that were that way towards me, like I don't hold any grudges, you know what I'm saying? It was just that like it's whatever, you know what I'm saying? But for me, like again, I'm a man first, wrestler second. I'm going to command respect. If you want respect, you know what I'm saying, you got to give me respect. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, although it was frustrating losing out on bookings and opportunities, I just always looked at it like, bro, I gotta always be happy with who I see in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? I was like, if things are gonna pop off for me, I'll get there. This is gonna take longer. You know what I mean? So like I like that's how I was always brought up, man. My parents brought me up that way. You speak your mind, you know what I'm saying? You don't let people take advantage of you, you know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't, you know what I mean? So things are happening. Then the ball is rolling now. Things are moving right now, so it's all good. So like I'm not like the way that I've always been. Like I wouldn't change anything that's happened. You know what I mean? Because things are moving now. You know.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way to be. Like not this a life in general. I feel like trying to be something that maybe people would expect you to be, or just being anything other than yourself. It kind of make it hard to sleep at night when you like sort of recap your whole day. So I think that's the best way to be, is just like honestly, man, like just do you. Like that's the that's the best thing you can be. And I think that just makes life easier for most people if you just being who you are as an individual and not trying to be what you think people should be, or be what you maybe be this idea of what you think you should be. Just do you. And I think that's how things naturally flow and just naturally progress overall. But like I wanted to talk to you about, like, so I've like heard like sort of like my fair share of things about that early 2000s time period in CZW, like, you know, as far as like talent treatment and stuff like that from the powers that be. And I'm curious, for somebody who was actually there in the thick of it as a Black man in that early 2000 space, and I know you just touched on it a little bit, but like, and I want to make sure I'm like precise in what I'm asking, so I'm not just leading you into like somewhere, but I'm like, well, like, so sort of recap your experience like as a Black man on the independent scene. Like I'm pretty sure it couldn't have been something that was just that easy to just navigate and process, like you said, like without feeling that you were sort of being isolated in some spaces and or possibly losing out on an opportunity. Like, yeah, basically I'm just asking you to like sort of recap your experience as a Black man, man of color, like just in that early 2000s wrestling space, man, and how difficult and trying it could be. And was it sort of difficult for you and even in CZW to feel like you had to fight just a little bit extra hard, just a little bit harder to rise up, rise up above people, or not above people, but more so just rise up on the proverbial ladder over people who you felt like that you were more improved than or better than, in the sense of just the in-ring part?
Yeah, I mean, like it's always been a battle for me, you know what I mean? And I mean, I'll say this, like I've never been called the N-word. Okay. Like it's happened by like a couple fans, you know what I mean? But as far as like promoters and like the boys, I've never been called that to my face. You know what I mean? Okay. The not getting opportunities because of color of skin, like it's there. It's been there. That's something that, you know, that's something that everyone knows. It's been around in pro wrestling. It's definitely happened. You know what I mean? But not once have I ever tried to use the race card to try to get an advantage. I just always looked at it like, all right,
it is what it is type thing.
Exactly, it is what it is. I have an idea of why this person is getting this person is getting this, and I'm not. But maybe it's not that. Maybe it's that. Maybe they're more advanced than I am. Maybe it's not the color thing. You know what I mean? So I never use the race thing as a crutch or nothing. I just looked at it like, okay, cool, I'm gonna get there. You know what I mean? Like I'm strong enough and talented enough and confident enough to where like I'm gonna make it there. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think that like it's weak to use that. Now like in CZW, like I started from the bottom and then worked my way up. Like everything that ever happened, I had to fight for it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when we were doing Blackout, like it was a group of us, so it was easier to get those opportunities. Even if like people were in the back playing politics, you know what I'm saying? When we went out there, like the audience was telling you who they wanted to see. You know what I mean? So like it was a fight, but when it was Blackout, we banded together to make it happen. And then when I was just like a solo guy at CCW, I just fought for what I wanted, and I was never quiet. You know what I'm saying? If it was something I didn't like, I spoke up, and that's what you have to do. Like the environment in CCW over the years, it was a toxic environment, but like you would only get treated badly if you allowed it to happen. If you allowed it to happen, it happened. If you didn't allow it to happen, it wouldn't happen. And that comes from command and respect. We're all adults, adult age, act like it. You know what I'm saying? If you allow yourself to be treated like a child, then it's going to happen. Like there's been several times in CZW where like people would be scared to speak up for themselves, and they would mention it to me, and I would say something and help them out. You know what I mean? So it's like again, man, it's like it is what it is. It's like if you allow it to happen, it's going to happen. If you don't allow it, it won't happen. You know. But CCW was a toxic environment, though. It was a toxic environment, especially for the women. Like the women were treated very, very badly. You know what I'm saying? And like there were times when not only me, there were several of us guys that would go to the owner and put him in his place. You know what I'm saying? And then he would chill, but then he would still go back to the BS. You know what I'm saying? It was a very disrespectful to the women, bro. Very disrespectful.
I'm very glad to hear you mention that, because I was gonna bring that up after you said it. But I'm really glad you touched on that, because that's like a very like out there thing. That's not like secret knowledge. Like I think a lot of people know that, and of course from the Speaking Out movement last year, I'm pretty sure people saw the story that was running around. But yeah, man, I'm like I you go back and you do your talking about. For me, I went back and you do some research and stuff, and you start finding out about certain stuff, and man, that shit just was not cool in the slightest.
It wasn't cool, because women.
Yeah, you good.
Women go through enough BS, you know what I'm saying? Not only in wrestling, like in all forms of entertainment, they go through enough BS, you know what I'm saying, that they shouldn't have to go through. For somebody that has a lead, that's an owner that has a leadership role, for you to try to use that to make women do what you want them to do is clown shit, and it shouldn't happen. You know what I mean?
And especially at a time when there were already limited opportunities for women, and it's like most of them kind of got slided into that valet spot. And I know a lot of people, which they were trying to break into the in-ring stuff. So like I feel like having that type of power and trying to use certain stuff against them and sort of putting the idea in their head is if they do this, then they'll advance their careers. Man, I feel like that's just like some manipulative shit, man. It's not solid, man. That's not what it's That's not how you navigate things with somebody that's in a position of power. And we've heard countless stories, not even just in CZW, man, just in the independent scene in general, and just in not even just independent, just wrestling in general, man. There's so many stories of women having to like deal with certain shit, man. And like even now they still fighting the fight, like to this day.
Exactly.
Like, still fighting the fight.
Yeah, and like women are getting opportunities now, and that's great. But think about all the women that came through the scene over the years that didn't get opportunities, that were very talented, but because of the BS they had to deal with, they just said, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? Think of what could have been for them. It's a couple women that aren't on the scene anymore, or they might wrestle here and there now, that are talented as hell, bro. I'm talking in-ring, I'm talking promos, and because of the BS they had to deal with, they just said screw it,
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I think of a couple of names, and it's some that were around during that early 2000s period that broke through, like Mickie James and Mercedes Martinez, and I'm thinking about a couple like Sarah Del Rey broke through. Like I know she's in WWE right now, the coach. Like it's a couple, man. Like I think back to what's her name? I think her name is Angel Ortiz. I think that's her name. I believe that's her name. Angel Ortini. I think that's her. Yeah. So.
Angel Orsini.
Angel Orsini. That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah, she was she was in ECW. She was the prodigy in ECW.
Yeah, man. So like it's definitely been like a quite a few examples, and I think you hit a really nice point as far as like how many women out there probably would still be around today if they didn't have to deal with what it came at that time with being a woman in the industry, man. But like, I'm glad, I'm really glad you brought that up. And I think that
Yeah.
says a lot about you as an individual. Like I really appreciate that. That was a good conversation to have. But like you mentioned the blackout group and yourself and Ruckus held the CZW tag titles on more than one occasion. I know you guys had
Right.
the MCW tag titles too, the Maryland Championship Wrestling. That's not too far from where I am. But like, just talk about working with Ruckus, man, and how much fun was it working with him? It seemed like you guys had like a real good chemistry going, and of course within the blend within the blackout group, I'm pretty sure that just only elevated things.
Yeah, definitely. From the time that me and Ruckus met, like we clicked right away. You know what I'm saying? So when I got into CZW, Ruckus was already there. He was already established. You know what I'm saying? So when they put us together as Blackout, I knew that Ruckus is established. You know what I'm saying? He's a name here, so at least we'll be able to get opportunities and shine. And when they put us on, man, it took off right away. You know what I'm saying? And being around Ruckus, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot as far as like character work. You know what I'm saying? Like little things depending on who you're wrestling, this is the type of match that you do, because it's a lot of selfishness in the ring. You know what I'm saying? It's like guys like you know what I'm saying? We're working together, you know what I'm saying?
People want to get their stuff in.
It's exactly. People want to get their shit in, and they just want to make their stuff look good and make your stuff look like shit. You know what I'm saying? So like I learned from Ruckus the art of doing your best stuff where you don't have to rely on the other person to make it look good. It's going to look good regardless. You know what I'm saying? I definitely learned that from him. Like I started getting comfortable with promos from being around Robbie Marino so long and being around Eddie Kingston. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like we definitely killed it in Blackout, and we all learned together. We all learned from each other. I definitely learned from those dudes, you know?
When you think about like some of the people that came out of that sort of like Northeast area, like New York to Philadelphia, like that range, you think about some of the wrestlers that were around during that period, man. Like y'all had the jackpot. Y'all did, man. Y'all really did.
Yeah, it was definitely some fun times, man. Like it was crazy, bro. So a lot of times I'll be like, man, like if I knew then what I know now, man, I wonder where I'd be at. But you know what I mean, you can't really dwell on it. It's all part of the journey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was definitely some fun times, man.
And you know, we talking about Ruckus, man. Like how cool is it to say, I don't know if you had the chance to see the announcement on social media yet or had the chance to talk to him, but he's going to be inducted into the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame this month, actually on the 23rd. How cool is it to see him get that honor, man? I think Sanjay Dutt is gonna induct him into that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, definitely. It's well deserved, man. You know what I mean? Like Ruckus was an innovator, man. Like a lot of the guys that have the popular style now, like Ruckus is the father of that. You know what I mean? Like and then also like even back then, like when other guys were getting more recognition than Ruckus, a lot of these guys, they were only good in ring. Ruckus, not only was he good in the ring, he was a character, you know what I'm saying? Like he held it all down, you know what I mean? So like it's real cool that he's definitely, it's real cool that he's getting in that Hall of Fame, man. He definitely deserves it, man. Definitely. Yeah. And it was up to me, man. Ruckus would be a millionaire right now if it was up to me.
And GCW and Orange Crust are coming together to present that Hall of Fame. I know you did appear for GCW a couple years back at the Homicide 5150 celebration show. I had interviewed Julius Smokes like in December 2020, and Julius was telling me about how like that whole environment just felt like it was just like a family type atmosphere. Like everybody was chilling, everybody was having a good time. Like it was just all love, all vibes. Like from your from your perspective, like was it kind of that same thing, man? And it was
definitely was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off. No, but yeah, it definitely was, man. Definitely. It was like a lot of times when you go in these locker rooms, man, it's like there's a lot of cliques, you know what I'm saying? And like some guys over here, some guys over there. That night, everybody was together, man. You know what I mean? And it's fun when it's that way, where it's like no egos, no BS. Everybody is there for the same reason, you know what I'm saying? That's exactly how it was. It was like a family that night, man. We need more of that, you know?
Well, I was it was funny because you when we were talking about Ruckus, when I was talking to Julius, he had said something funny. He was talking about how Ruckus, like, he slimmed down a lot over the years. He was like, man, that man can slide under your door right now. But how slim he is. But yeah, man, it's cool to hear, like, from your recount and his recount of that experience, because it really did seem like, just from watching that 5150 tribute show, it really did seem like everybody was just so happy to come. Y'all came together to
Yep.
celebrate Homicide, man.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
a cool thing.
Yeah, like, and you know what I'm saying, Homicide is another one. He's like mentored like all of us, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so for all of us to come together to celebrate his career, man, like, there's nobody that would have said no to that. Everybody wanted to be there, you know what I'm saying? It was a good night, you know what I'm saying? It was really cool that night, man.
Yeah, and of course, fast forward to today, like we mentioned at the top, you have appeared for the NWA over the past year. I think you did some stuff with them like early in your career, but it wasn't like exactly, and it was like under the NWA banner. I think that's like the more like proper way to say it. Like, it was like NWA related, but it wasn't like just their stuff. And now it's like what you're doing now, that's like fully under the NWA banner. Like, how has your experience been so far, man? How did the opportunity come about to work with them? I guess again, and I know you're going to be on that NWA Power Trip show, I believe it's called, in February,
Yeah.
out in Oak Grove.
Yeah, so the two companies that I loved and watched the most when I was a kid was New Japan and NWA. Grew up on NWA, man. Like, loved it. And like, to get the opportunity is great, man. So it's like, for years, like, the one thing that was really escaping me was being involved in a company that has a TV presence. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been like wanting it for years. I've been pretty much begging for it. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? NWA put an opportunity out there for me. And now we killing it, bro. And I couldn't be happy. I got contacted by Pat Kenny back in June, and told me the dates for the June tapings. Asked if I was available. I'm like, yes. And then I was booked, and I couldn't wait, man. So then
It just
once I
snowballed from
got
there.
there, yeah, and it's like, again, man, like, the atmosphere is great, like, the locker room is great, everybody there, and you know what I'm saying, it's like people on different levels. There's like cats that are like that are trying to get experience, all the way up to guys that have been to the top. You know what I'm saying? A lot of ex-WWE guys, a lot of people with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, a lot of people that have drawn money in this game. You know what I'm saying? And it's like everybody is there to make the product better. Like, there's no egos. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing but positivity there. Like, another cool thing is that we're encouraged to follow our instincts as far as like promos and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And like, for all of us wrestlers, like we're artists. So when we have like free reign, or when we're able to like use our own voice, we appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And like, when you look at like the NWA product, like traditionally and now, like traditionally, the NWA product is about character and storytelling. You know what I'm saying? The things that draw money. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you're in the NWA, you have to know how to talk. Like, everybody on that roster knows how to talk. Everybody knows what their character is. Everybody is all about furthering those stories. And like, things are going good, man. It's going to be a big year for NWA. And February 12th, Power Trip in Kentucky. Looking forward to that, man. We're going to kill it like we always do, you know? So things are going really good, man.
And I know you guys just got the NWA USA show underway. I think that started not too long ago. I want to ask you, like, for somebody who has been with the NWA, like you said, since June, how important do you think it was for them to make the transition back to YouTube? Like, of course, Fight was a fight. You guys are still represented on Fight, and that's a good thing going on. But with YouTube, man, I feel like it's just so much more accessible, bro. And it's so easy for people to just to log into YouTube, man. And I think that creates like just an overall better exposure. And not to say that Fight isn't, but I still think that just with YouTube, it's just so much easier, man, to just find stuff and, get on there and log on.
Yeah, everybody's on YouTube, man. It's like everybody can like when you get on YouTube, you might go to find one thing, and then you'll start clicking on this and clicking on that. Next thing you know, you've been on YouTube for hours. You know what I'm saying? So YouTube is a giant platform. So it's like when NWA switched over to Fight, a lot of the fans were saying, damn, I wish NWA was back on YouTube. They were saying it for months, you know what I'm saying? And then NWA made it happen. They listened to the fans. So, and
Yeah.
it's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to put more eyes on our product. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be more exposure for all of us. It's a good thing. You know what I mean? I think it's definitely a good thing. And NWA USA, it started last Saturday. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be every Saturday at 12 noon on YouTube. And you know what I'm saying? That's given us even more exposure, man. It's going to focus on a junior heavyweight title, national title. It's going to be good, man. Like, definitely check it out this Saturday coming up. You know what I'm saying? You might see the church's money. You know what I mean? So like things are going real good, man. I couldn't be happier, bro.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the like the new faces that are coming into the NWA. I like how they sort of incorporate more people into the fold. And I recently I saw a promo that had it sort of blew up a little bit on social media from Darius Lockhart. His introduction, man, I was like, oh yeah, he about to do some things for the National Wrestling Alliance. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's cool to see like the different collection of times. Like you mentioned, you have people who just came out of WWE, like Fandango and Matt Cardona. You have people who just like finished up like 12, 15-year runs with them. And then you got people who trying to make a name for themselves. You got people like you who've been grinding on the independent scene, man, and sort of became staples on the independent scene, like really, really legit staples. And now like finding their way onto the sort of the televised programs. I think having that mix is always a good thing, because you can have different people, like they can learn from you the same way you can learn from them. You can learn from the new guys the same way the new guys can learn from you. The dudes who've been at WWE can learn from you the same way that you can learn from them. So I think having that collection of people is never a bad thing. And I think in locker rooms, you need stuff like that. You need people who have been in different type of places just to share that information around.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it keeps the morale good, man. It keeps things positive, because like when you think about it, when guys been in WWE for like X amount of years, they're used to that. They're used to that playbook. You know what I'm saying? And then when they're like back on the indies or like in NWA, they're around us guys that been on the indies for a long time. It makes it fun for them again, because like they're wrestling us. And it's like, oh wow, I never did it that way before, but this is gonna be fun. And then we're like, damn, I never did it that way before. It's gonna be fun. So you just put it all together, and like it's like a winning formula, man. You know what I mean? Can't lose.
And has the NWA ever like approached you or talked to you about doing like some agent work or producing work, or would that even be something that you would be interested in?
Before, that was something I never wanted a part of. Like I never wanted to do anything behind the scenes. I just wanted to be a performer. But like real shit, like once Homicide became an agent, and I see how he does things, and like how he's treated as an agent, you know what I'm saying? It opened my mind to in the future wanting to be a coach, wanting to be a trainer, wanting to be an agent. You know what I'm saying? It's an important job to have. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's very important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like guys will have a match. They'll have an idea of the match. That agent is that third set of eyes. You know what I'm saying? I would love to do in the future, definitely. You know what I'm saying? It's like with a lot of things happening right now, and it's opening my eyes to different things in wrestling. And again, like going back to like how NWA is really big on being able to talk. When you're a strong talker, that can lead to other things as well. That could lead to commentary. That could lead to, like, for example, like take like somebody like MVP, you know what I'm saying? Hell of a talker. He you remember when he had his own show on Raw, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of stuff, bro. Like, so like when you're a strong talker, when you can put words together, you know what I'm saying? When you can talk people in the building, however you want to word it, like that can lead to a lot. So I'm loving it, bro. Loving it.
So I wanted to sort of follow up on what you just said. Do you think that like initially you were sort of hesitant about the producer/agent role, because normally, or I should say traditionally, when people sort of get slotted into that role, or they choose to go into that role, it sort of like signals the end of their in-ring career. Like you think that's why you kind of stayed away from them a little bit, because you didn't want to be like, hey, I ain't there yet.
Maybe a little bit without really thinking about it. Yeah, it has to be that, you know what I'm saying? Because going back to that arrogance that we all have is like we're performers. So it's like when you're asked to not be a performer anymore and just be behind the scenes, it's like, what? I'm not good anymore. You know what I mean? So it plays with your mind a little bit. But again, man, it's a very, very important job to have, because like you're really like you're like helping other people's career. You're giving back. You know what I'm
Giving
saying?
back,
You
yeah.
learned all of this. You have all of this knowledge. So now is the time for you to like give your knowledge to others. And then also it's this too, because like over the years, I've never been officially a trainer at schools, but over the years, I helped out training
Yeah.
people. And a lot of times when you pass on that knowledge and you helping people, like there are people that listen and they take heed and they apply it, but there are a lot that like you give them all this knowledge and you help them, it goes in one ear and out the other. And that's frustrating. You know what I mean? So I think it was more so that than it was thinking about, well, I'm not wrestling anymore, I'm just gonna be behind the scenes. I think it was that, because it's like if you passing on your knowledge, you want people to listen and like apply it. You don't want it to be like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, but you know what I mean? I would do it, but you know what I mean? So, that's what it was, really.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk to you about your stints in TNA / Impact Wrestling as well. One thing I know you had the chance to compete in is the Ultimate X match. I think it was yourself, Trent, Low Key, and Sanjay Dutt. Like any fond memories that you can recall from being in Ultimate X and sort of your stint in TNA. But more, I had a follow-up question about the TNA stuff, but more so just about the the Ultimate X match that you can recall.
I mean, I remember enjoying it. I remember after doing it, I wanted to do more. Like it was at a time where like I was dying to be in TNA, bro. I wanted to be in TNA more than anything, bro. And when it didn't happen, like I was frustrated about it. But like as far as that in particular, I wanted to do more. I loved it. I wanted to do more.
And the follow-up thing I mentioned, like I had heard this from Tony Nese, who was like around at that time period too, is sort of doing some of the TNA stuff. Like he said that, and I'm curious to hear your recollection, like if it was sort of the same thing for you. He was like, when TNA was sort of trying to reboot the X Division, and they were trying to make it like a prominent thing. He was like they signed like quite a few guys will sign like agreements with certain people, and like they really bigged it up. It's like this, the X Division is coming back and it's going to be this big thing, and you guys going to be spotlighted, and it was going to be like different characters, and like it mostly turned out at that time to be like a once every now and then thing. Like it would be certain spots or like 1 or 2 matches on the television taping, or like the one night only shows, and like it sort of for this is from his recount, like it sort of interfered with some like independent bookings because he couldn't appear on certain shows that had streaming and stuff like that because he was signed to Impact. Like from your perspective, like was it kind of the same thing? Like you felt like, or you got the sense that they were like really bigging it up as like this reboot of the X Division, and then like it sort of turned out to like not be what they presented it as, and then you were also sort of signed in an agreement with them. I don't know if you were one of the people that ended up locking in with Impact, but like so like what was sort of your recount of that, and was it sort of the same, something similar to what Tony expressed?
All right. Well, firstly, like I wasn't signed. I never had an agreement.
Mm.
Like the handful of times I was there, it was like one-offs. I never had a deal there. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And they never said, I don't remember them saying to me, all right, the X Division is going to be the shit now.
Mm.
It's going to be the thing now. But it was implied. We all felt like the X Division was going to be focused on more. We all felt that way. I definitely felt that way. I definitely felt I was going to be a part of it. But then it was like they would put some focus on it, and then focus was taken away. And then like maybe months later, they would do the same thing. It was like a pattern. They would put focus on it, and then they wouldn't. But you know what I'm saying? Not being negative about it though, it's like it's business, man. Like at any time, any company or you know what I'm saying? They might have wanted to do that, but they felt like they wanted to go in a different direction. You know what I'm saying? But like the X Division was, remember back in the day in WCW, the cruiserweight division, remember how
Yeah.
hot that was? Like it was that way with the X Division and TNA. Like the X Division was the division that everybody wanted to see. You know what I'm saying? So I think it would have been a good idea if they would have focused on it more and more. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I think they should have. But again, man, companies decide to go a different route all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's and if you can't control it, then you know.
No
But
reason, no
it
reason to
did
sweat it if
suck.
you can't control it.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? If I had an agreement though, if I was signed or whatever, and I had to miss indies that had streaming, I would definitely be pissed off about it. You know what I mean? Like on one hand though, like if you sign something, you know, like this is what you signed up for. You got to deal with it. But on the other hand, it's like, damn it, man, I want to do this and this, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
you know,
it's a mixed bag. It's definitely a mixed
yeah,
bag.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like geez, we talked about it a little bit earlier, like how you were able to accomplish so much in your career, man. And I think one of those things is 2 tours, Japan with Big Japan Pro Wrestling, which I think is cool as hell. Like I hear a lot of people like they they did like All Japan, they do New Japan, but I don't really hear about like hear people doing tours with Big Japan. I mean, they do I do All Japan or New Japan, but like I don't really hear a lot of people talking about doing tours with Big Japan, and I think that's cool. I know you had the chance to work with I think or do some shows with like Okabayashi or like Sakamoto, who are they still with Big Japan to this day. Like so, man, what was that sort of experience like, man? And then also, like, did you get like a sort of like a culture shock being in Japan, like being in such a different space, like so a cool culture shock, not a negative one, but like it was just like, oh, this is different. Like, was it kind of that cool feeling?
Yeah, it was real cool. One thing I can say about Japan, it was clean as hell over there. Like I'm used to Philly. I'm used to trash being everywhere. I'm used to it being dirty. Like everywhere we went in Japan was clean as hell, bro. That was definitely shocking. But like, I didn't really have a negative experience, bro. Cause you remember, man, like that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to go to Japan and wrestle, bro. And like I loved it. My time over there, I loved it. And like, yeah, it is different because like Big Japan, you know what I'm saying? Their product is really big on death matches, you know what I'm saying? But it was no different from working for CZW, where CZW's big thing with death matches. I didn't do any death matches in Big Japan. I did wrestling, you know what I'm saying? I got to wrestle with the majority of the roster. It was cool. I got to get in there with Sekimoto, you know what I'm saying? It was cool, man. It was a great experience in Big Japan, bro.
Mm-hmm. And I think what wasn't I looked up some of the matches. I think Malachi Black was on some of those tours back then in 2011 and stuff. So yeah, that's cool, man. I'm glad you got to experience that. I think that and also you did like a couple like independent shows down there, didn't you? Or like one or two different spots that was like outside of All Japan.
Yeah. I did a couple of indies over there. Yeah. Yup.
I say, well,
so yeah, it was overall good experience, bro.
Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned like just the overall feel of being in Japan. Like, do you hope that once or I mean I'm pretty sure it's something you would want to do, but like once the pandemic sort of hopefully when we get out of this at some point, would you like to eventually head back to Japan and do some stuff over there?
Hell yeah, I want to go to New Japan, bro. Like as far as Japan, it's one spot I want to go, and that's New Japan, man. Like bro, I've been like a New Japan mark since like the Super J Cup of '94, bro. Like that's like if that's like that's one of the main goals that's left to wrestle for New Japan. You know what I mean? And like again, man, I feel like I can make anything happen. So I look forward to it happening whenever it does, you know.
I'm gonna say it right here. Let's get Black G's on New Japan Strong while we can. Let's do it. New Japan Strong.
Hell yeah.
Let's get it. Let's get them on there.
Hell yeah. I love it, man. Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a thread going, bro. Black G's and New Japan Strong. I would love that, man.
Let's do it. But like I wanted to ask you like about the I think you mentioned it when we were talking about the WWE spot when you and Brian, I think Brian Hardy, I think is his name, and you guys had the match against Ryback on SmackDown. Like, I mean, I don't think it's really much to talk about the match per se, but like I wanted to ask you, right. Booker T had said on commentary that you were Brickhouse Brown's cousin. Is that I'm assuming that's false, right? Or is that? Or is
it's false.
That's false. That's like
it's like so I did like this was a long time ago. Like Rikishi used to have these shows in Italy and Spain, right? So like I did a couple tours. It was NWE in Spain. Like Booker T was on one of those tours. That's where I first met Booker T. He was a cool dude, bro. You know what I mean? Like Booker T was like he came across like he was your uncle. You know what I mean? Cool dude, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was just him throwing that in there, you know what I'm saying, to be entertaining.
Yeah, I was like, when I heard, I was like, he had to be joking, because that didn't even seem like something that he was trying to be serious about. It was just like one of those comedic comedic little
Yeah,
throwaway lines to
yeah,
be entertaining for WWE TV. You know, they entertainment based
yeah.
product. But before we get out of here, G's, I wanted to ask you, man, like it's sort of like a cool like little retrospective question. And I know you said that you're not done no time soon, but like when you look at your body of work that you've accomplished over the past 15 plus years, like if it were to in today, meaning pertaining to your in-ring career, like do you think you could look back at everything that you've done since the early 2000s and be like, you know what, man, that's a good body of work to call it a day? Or you think you would like if it were to be that, do you think you could have that sort of internal feeling like, you know what, cool, that's I'm all right with that?
For a long time, I would have said no because I wanted closure my way. But now, yes, definitely. Because like again, when I got into this, I only wanted to wrestle in Japan and Corrigan Hall. I did it. Everything else was a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a cat that grew up in West Philly, and like saying you wanted to be a wrestler, you got clowned for that. Like if I would have said I want to be a boxer, I want to be a rapper, it would have been cool. Everybody, I'm like, yeah, definitely do it. I want to be a wrestler. I'm the weird guy now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I followed all my goals, fought for them. And like I'll see cats in my old neighborhood that I grew up with, and these dudes are smoked out. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these cats, they didn't follow their goals, you know what I'm saying? Because they went the other way. They went the other direction. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we see each other, like it's handshakes and hugs, bro. It's like as I was coming up and first started traveling, they were still clowning me. Oh, you still doing that? You still doing that fake wrestling? You out there wearing tights, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. But it's like now, like it's like they sincerely happy for me. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So like, and then again, wanting to be in a company that had a TV presence that escaped me for a long time. And it was because of a lot of political nonsense in the game. People thinking that Black G's the character was me 24/7. People thinking that I'm just a bitter, unprofessional hothead. And then when I meet them, it's like, damn, man, you completely different from what I thought. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I could definitely, if I had to like hang it up, I would say I had a good career, accomplished more than I ever thought I would. You know what I'm saying? And right now, I'm changing how people felt about me, where people just assumed I was some type of a-hole or whatever. They know that I'm not. They know that I'm a motivated professional that works hard. And like even after all these years, I'm still fighting. I'm still going strong. You know what I mean? So I'd say I've had a hell of a career, and the book isn't closed yet. You know what I'm saying? We still got a few more chapters to go.
For sure,
You know what
for
I mean?
sure. G's, you made it, man. You made it. I think
Thank you, bro.
that's the best way to put it. You made it. You definitely did. But like, man, again, I want to reiterate this. Let's get Black G's on NJPW strong, man. Let's get it one
Hell yeah.
for the one time. But G's, please, if you got anything you want to plug, merchandise, YouTube, social media, any upcoming bookings you got, please, I'm gonna make sure to please say it. I'm gonna make sure to plug it underneath the description of this video.
All right, cool. This Saturday, January 15th, Catalyst Wrestling. You got me and Joker, Philly's Most Wanted, going for those Catalyst Wrestling tag team titles. You know what I'm saying? You got the NWA World Champion Trevor Murdoch tagging with Homicide. First time the NWA World title is going to be in Catalyst, going to be in New York in a long time. It's going to be a great show. Everybody's going to be out there killing it. Make sure y'all come see that. You know what I'm saying? I got a bunch of stuff coming up, but definitely check out NWA February the 12th in Oak Grove, Kentucky. We got NWA Power Trip. You got Idolmania Sports Management in association with Church's Money and Enterprises. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a hell of a card. You know what I'm saying? You can check me out on social media, on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, G's 215. That's JEEZ 215, just like the shirt, G's 215. That's all my social media. Andrew, I want to thank you for having me on. I appreciate the time, bro. You don't understand how much not only me, but like all of us pro wrestlers, man, we appreciate when you guys have us come on and allow us to tell our story and talk about things. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate that because you guys are helping us. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you, bro. Anytime you have the space to have me on, I definitely love to come back, bro. I appreciate you.
No, for sure, man. And hopefully one of these days, I'm gonna try to come out to one of these NWA shows, man. And hopefully me and you could do an in-person interview, get some more camera. I think that'd be real cool.
Definitely, bro.
Yeah, for sure. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm Andrew Thompson at Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel, signing off with the man himself, Black G's, and we are out. Peace.